Good afternoon, and thank you for being here with us at Renfrew. Lovely here in Mississauga on this lovely day. I'd like to introduce after I've given an introduction, Premier Ford, Minister Mulroney, Minister Surma, Mayor Crombie, MPP Anand, MPP Hogarth, MPP Khalid Rashid, Councillor Ford, and also President and CEO of IO, Aaron Corey, is here today, and just welcome everyone here for this afternoon's discussion. When the Premier announced the subway expansion a year ago, this particular project, Eglinton Crosstown West Extension, was the least developed and required the most work. So this week, we are very, very pleased to be able to have come this far this quickly. And what is really exciting for us is by the time we got to May of this year and having closed the request for qualifications, we have three very competent bidders that will now participate in the next phase, which we're announcing this week, which is the request for proposals. Now, this is especially good news for us as a province, because over the last 18 months, we've seen fairly fundamental changes in the construction industry. These transit projects that are huge, big, complex, integrated projects is not easy to deliver. And the construction industry have become less and less keen and more reluctant to bid on these projects as integrated projects. And where we are today with the Scarborough subway extension, the Crosstown West extension, Eglinton Crosstown West extension, as well as with the Ontario line, with a strategy to break these projects up into subsections that are specialized, will give best value for money to taxpayers, will also deliver better results from the market. And what I particularly like about the Eglinton Crosstown West extension is how it connects the communities and how it connects the region. Look, particularly Mississauga, my way, a crucial connection. And here at Renfrew, where we have TTC Go as well as My Way buses. Similarly, a great multimodal hub at Mount Dennis, also for bus services from these three operators. And then at Mount Dennis, the connection with Up Express, as well as with the Kitchener Go line. This is a fantastic project. Please, I'll hand over to Premier Ford.
Great, thank you. Well, thank you so much, Phil. And well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be back in the beautiful city of Mississauga today with our outstanding team, Minister Mulroney, Minister Surma, MPPs Deepak, Anand, Christine Hogarth, and Khalid Rashid. It's also great to be here with Mayor Crombie, Councillor Ford, and Deputy Mayor Holliday. They've been absolute champions for these projects right from the get-go. Thank you, Phil, and the entire Metrolinx team, Michael Lindsay and his team at Infrastructure Ontario, and Pat Novell and his team at the Greater Toronto Airport Authority for all your incredible work. Together, we're getting shovels in the ground on critical projects across Ontario, whether it's new long-term care homes for seniors or the expansion of Thomas Street Middle School. We're investing in this region. And today, we're here to take another critical step as we work to deliver subways to the people of Etobicoke and Mississauga. Because the people of Mississauga and Etobicoke deserve rapid underground transit. They deserve a reliable transit system that gets them to work on time and home to their families sooner. And we aren't going to close down Eglinton Avenue, one of the busiest streets in Toronto. We're going to dig, we're going to tunnel, we're going to put that line underground where it belongs. And we're working with the GTAA on a planned connection to Pearson Airport because it's good planning. We are planning not for today, but for the next 50 to 100 years. And we won't waste a single second. We won't waste a single dollar getting these projects built. We're making a historic investment in the future of our transit system, an investment that will support our economic recovery. A $28.5 billion plan to build 4 new subway lines the most ambitious transit project this country has ever seen. We're moving quickly, and with the support of our municipal partners, I have to thank Mayor Crombie for your support for this subway line to the airport. You and Mayor Tory have been incredible to work with, and I thank you. And I have to thank Mayor Tory as well, who has been an absolute champion for all four subway lines. Earlier this month, 3 teams were shortlisted to bid on the tunneling work for the Eglinton Crosstown West Extension. 3 highly qualified and experienced teams. And we are taking the next step forward, a critical step in the process. We are issuing the request for proposal. My friends, there's no going back. And as sure as I'm standing here today, we will build the Eglinton Crosstown West. We will build subways for Etobicoke and Mississauga, and we will build it underground where it belongs. This subway project will support 4,600 jobs. 31,000 more jobs will be accessible to people living near the subway station when completed. And it will handle 37,000 riders a day by 2041, cutting time for daily commutes and giving people back time to spend on what really matters. And these projects are green. They will benefit our economy and our environment. Getting people out of cars will help reduce thousands of tons of greenhouse gas emissions. My friends, we are building for the future. We are connecting people across Toronto and the GTA from Scarborough to Etobicoke to Mississauga, putting more opportunity within their reach. But we need our federal partners to come to the table. I want them standing here with us, and I am confident they will. I'm calling on the Prime Minister to help us fund this project, and I am confident the federal government will stand with us. With the people of Mississauga, they will stand with the people of Etobicoke, because the people out there, they want subways, and they won't settle for anything less. My friends, we are getting shovels in the ground on 4 new subway lines. We're going to start digging, and we won't stop until we deliver new subways for the people of Etobicoke, Mississauga, Scarborough, and York region. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to Minister Mulroney.
Thank you, Premier Ford. It's been less than 2 years since we announced our new subway plan for the GTA, part of the largest subway expansion in Canadian history, and we've already made significant progress in moving our plan forward. We've listened to the industry, and the market has responded in an overwhelmingly positive manner to our plan. Our short list of bidders, 3 each for both our Scarborough and Eglinton projects, comprises a healthy mix of Canadian and international bidders. Today's announcement represents a significant milestone with the imminent release of tomorrow's request for proposal. We will ask shortlisted bidders to come up with plans for tunneling works for an approximately 6-kilometer section of the 9.2-kilometer extension, design and construction of launch and extraction shafts, tunnels, emergency exit buildings, and stations, and supply tunnel boring machines for the project. L'annonce d'aujourd'hui représente une étape importante avec la publication imminente de la demande de proposition de demain. Nous demanderons aux soumissionnaires présélectionnés de proposer des plans pour des travaux de tunnels sur une section d'environ 6 km du prolongement de 9,6 km. La conception et construction de puits de lancement et d'extraction de tunnels, de bâtiments et de stations d'issue de secours. Fournir des foreuses de tunnels pour le projet. Une fois que nous aurons évalué ces propositions, nous prévoyons attribuer des contrats de tunnels au milieu de l'année 2021. Once we've evaluated these proposals, we expect to award tunneling contracts in mid-2021. Our investments in public transit infrastructure are essential for getting people back to work and improving people's quality of life throughout the GTA. As we invest billions in building transit, these projects will kickstart our economy as we recover from COVID-19 and generate meaningful employment opportunities. We're ready to work with leaders in the private sector and all government levels to deliver our 4 priority transit projects. We've signed landmark agreements with both the City of Toronto and the Regional Municipality of York. Combined with our excellent working relationship with the City of Mississauga, these arrangements with our key municipal partners will ensure that we continue to collaborate successfully. Together, we will build Premier Ford's historic vision for transit expansion and lead Ontario's economy back to prosperity. It remains essential that we get these projects built quickly. We recently passed the Building Transit Faster Act to expedite the planning, design, and construction of our 4 priority transit projects. This common sense legislation will streamline project delivery to get these lines built as quickly and cost effectively as possible. We cannot afford to wait any longer. This Eglinton Crosstown West extension will offer communities across Etobicoke and nearby Mississauga access to modern, reliable, and sustainable rapid transit. We are making smart, long-term transit investments to address congestion and give the people of the GTA more options to get where they need to be. Le prolongement de l'Eglinton Crosstown West offrira aux communautés d'Etobicoke et des communautés voisines à Mississauga un accès à un service de transport en commun rapide, moderne, fiable et durable. Nous investissons de façon intelligente pour le long terme avec les transports en commun afin de réduire la congestion et d'offrir plus d'options aux habitants de la grande région de Toronto pour se rendre à leur destination. Thank you, merci, and with that, I'll turn it over to my friend and colleague, Minister Surma.
Thank you, Minister Mulroney. Minister Mulroney has shown exceptional leadership during the negotiations with the City of Toronto, York Region, and the City of Mississauga. And on a personal note, I want to thank her for her mentorship. Our government has always been clear that improving public transit is a top priority. We are ending the culture of delay by taking action that will get shovels in the ground sooner. This is excellent news for Etobicoke, Mississauga, and the rest of the GTA. This request for proposals release will be the latest milestone in our historic transit expansion plan. The Eglinton Crosstown West extension will run approximately 9.2 kilometers from the future Mount Dennis station on the Eglinton Crosstown LRT to Renforth Drive. It will operate mainly underground, reducing travel times and improving access to jobs, schools, and other destinations throughout the GTA. The province is also committed to establishing connectivity to Pearson International Airport. We're working closely with the Greater Toronto Airport Authority to explore a planned connection to the airport, opening up even more travel possibilities for airport customers and workers. This partnership represents a $40 million investment to improve rapid transit access to Canada's largest airport. Along with our other 3 GTA priority transit projects, the Eglinton Crosstown West extension will provide much needed relief to commuters by cutting travel times and easing congestion on our roadways. It will connect to future GO and UP Express stations, TTC bus routes, and of course, the Mississauga Transitway. We continue to invite Ottawa to join us at the table and fund at least 40% of these nationally significant subway projects. In the past, we've accomplished great things with our federal partners, and we continue to call on them to support our historic plans for transit expansion in the GTA. We know that Etobicoke needs reliable transit. The best way to remove traffic and congestion is by building a truly regional transportation system. Past governments have talked about a rapid transit project along Eglinton for decades, and we have only seen inaction. But under our government, it's happening. As a longtime resident of Etobicoke, I am proud to be part of a government that is making significant progress in this historic project by getting shovels in the ground faster so that people can access better rapid transit sooner. Working with the private sector and all levels of government, we are making smart, long-term transit investments to address congestion, give commuters and families more options, and help people get to where they need to be. Thank you. I'd like to welcome the Mayor of Mississauga, Bonnie Crombie.
Good afternoon, and thank you for that kind introduction. I'm thrilled to have Premier Ford and Minister Mulroney here in Mississauga. That's twice in 1 month, Premier. It's always a pleasure to welcome you to our city. And I must say that we're loving all the spotlight on Mississauga these days, and with good reason. There's lots happening in our diverse, growing city, and there's a lot to look forward to. It's been an incredibly tough few months for the people of Mississauga, but we've turned a corner and we're focused on building back to better. I want to take the opportunity to thank Premier Ford, Prime Minister Trudeau for the $46 million that Mississauga was allocated through the first phase of the Safe Restart Agreement. It's important to give credit where credit is due, and Premier, as you'd say, you've been an absolute champion, a superstar for cities during this crisis, and I thank you. We all thank you. This funding will help us continue to deliver the essential services our residents and our businesses rely on every day while planning for the future. Equally as important in our efforts to get Mississauga back on track, we'll be building the transit we need to connect people to jobs and to prosperity. We're proud to be home to nearly 500,000 jobs and the second largest cluster of employment next to Toronto. People move across our city and our region daily. They want fast, reliable, and most importantly, seamless transit service. They want to get on transit and go, and we're making the investments needed to make that happen. Today, we are standing at the Renforth Station, the final stop eastbound on the Mississauga Transitway, our 18-kilometer rapid bus transit corridor that runs east to west along Highway 403. Since we first opened it 5 years ago, we've been able to tackle gridlock while experiencing an incredible growth in ridership with more than 5.2 million riders each year. But until today, the true potential for the station remained untapped. Today's announcement means Mississauga's newest east-to-west regional transit link will soon be complete and fully connected to Toronto and the wider GTA. This extension will allow for more frequent and rapid service to the airport corporate center, an area in desperate need of greater connections. One day, Pearson Airport will be our Union Station West. I'm confident this connection will ensure Mississauga remains a net importer of jobs and an even more attractive place for businesses looking to invest. I want to thank the Premier and Minister Mulroney for recognizing the importance of this project and for working to advance the underground tunneling work needed to make the extension a reality. Premier, you certainly know how to get the job done, and today is no exception. And now it is my pleasure to invite MPP Mississauga-Malton Deepak Anand to the podium. Thank you.
What a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Thanks, Madam Mayor. I completely agree with you. We can achieve a lot through teamwork and collaboration. During COVID-19, the province had witnessed a true champion, Premier Ford, who has worked hard, collaborating with stakeholders and all levels of government, and has delivered the results. So formally, I want to say thank you. Thank you, Mayor Crombie, for those inspiring words. And thank you, Premier Ford. Thank you, Minister Mulroney. Thank you, Minister Surma, for taking time from your busy schedule today to make this exciting announcement. I would also like to recognize Phil Wester from Metrolinx for their attendance today. We can't thank you enough for being here. As the MPP for Mississauga-Malton, I'm proud to represent the home of one of Canada's largest employment hubs. If there is any way to start charting a path to a strong economic recovery, it is right here in Mississauga. The Eglinton Crosstown West Extension and our 3 other priority subway projects will drive the creation of thousands of jobs across the GTA and make life easier for the people of Mississauga, who rely on our transit system every day to get to the work on time and to get home to their loved ones sooner. It will cut commute times and allow riders to spend more quality time with their families. This is part of our largest subway expansion in Canadian history. And for a fastest growing city like Mississauga, it is indeed the need of the hour. On behalf of MPP Khalid Rashid On behalf of MPP Christine Hogarth, who are here, and rest of the team, all 6 Mississauga MPPs are proud to represent of the people of this great city, and we are always here for you. We will continue to work with the government to champion this project and deliver the result for the people of Mississauga and Ontario. On behalf of our Mississauga team, I want to thank you for everyone for coming here, and let's start digging. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll go to the phone line for questions. First question.
Comes from Haley Cooper from News Talk 1010. Please go ahead.
Hi,
Thank
Haley.
you. Hi, Premier.
Hi.
We were looking for an update on where things stand in retrofitting schools with the new HVAC systems. Are you guaranteeing that the systems will be installed in all schools that need them by the start of the school year?
Well, we're going full steam ahead on that, Haley. We invested $50 million based on the advice of the unions, teachers unions. And again, we're listening to the teachers unions. I know the minister also sent out a notice that we will stagger the start for 2 weeks. Again, we are listening, and we're just getting making sure that we create the most safe environment for our teachers and our students. And I just want to add some of the doctors, and there's many of them that have signed off on our back to school plan. David McEwen, Dr. David McEwen, the former chief health officer of Toronto. Dr. David Mowat, former Chief Medical Officer, Health for Ontario. Dr. Andrea Feller, the Associate Medical Officer of Health for Niagara. Dr. Charles Gardner, the Chief Medical Officer for Simcoe Muskoka. Dr. Chris Mackey, the Chief Medical Officer for London. Dr. Paul Ramilio Otis, the Medical Officer of Health of Eastern Ontario Health Unit. And Dr. Marlene Sprite, the Chief Medical Officer of Algoma, and obviously Dr. Williams and our whole health team, Minister Elliott, and so on and so forth. I guess my point is, with all the advice we're getting from everyone and we're listening, they've approved our plan, and these are some of the best doctors in the country. And we're going to move forward with a plan, but we're always going to be flexible. We're always going to listen. So that's what we're going to do moving forward.
Follow up.
Thank you. And my follow-up, has your government heard back from the boards in terms of how many nurses and custodians and bus drivers they've hired by now in various districts? And do we know if parents will get some kind of spreadsheet or map to see how many of these people have been hired in what school board?
Well, I'll be announcing that as we move forward closer to the time when we open the schools. But what I can tell you is 60% of all school boards in Ontario have a plan. It's locked down. They're ready to go. 40% are very close, and hopefully we'll get that locked down in the very short near future there.
Next question.
Next question comes from Colin DeMello from CTV News. Please go ahead.
Hi, Colin.
Hi there. Good afternoon, Premier. The Toronto District School Board has made masks mandatory for all students from kindergarten to grade 12. I wanted to get your thoughts on kindergartners having to wear a mask in school all day.
Well, I go with the experts at Sick Kids. They're the ones who didn't recommend masks. They said they would be fiddling around with the masks. And, you know, I had 4 girls. I know when they were little, you know, when they're 4 years old, 5 years old, you know, it's hard to keep the mask on them. But again, we'll be there. We'll support the board if that's what they want to do. But keeping a mask on a JK or senior kindergarten might be difficult, but we'll support it.
Follow up.
Thank you. I had a healthcare question as well. I understand the health minister is not there, but hopefully you can take this. There are some restrictions currently, COVID-19 related restrictions when it comes to hospital visits, with families often have to fight to see their family members who are in hospital, who are especially in palliative care. I'm just curious, what are hospitals instructed to do right now when it comes to families who are looking to access loved ones who are on their deathbed? And what would you like to see happen if somebody's, you know, in their last days? Should family be able to go in and see them without being restricted by a hospital?
Colin, it's thank you for the question. It's a great question. I was briefed on that this morning, but I also mentioned to our team that I get a lot of people calling me, and you know, one of their loved ones are in their last days, and just personally, I think they should be with them. But again, I'm not the health expert. I understand the CEOs of the hospitals are trying to protect the patients, protect the staff as well. But on a personal note, you need to be with your loved one. You know, it's the last time you get to see them. And I've had numerous calls about this. So we'll mention this to the health table, but really we have to rely on each CEO of each hospital across the province. But I fully understand the pain that the families are going through. And I can't imagine not seeing your loved one in their last days. It was very difficult.
Next question.
Next question comes from Jeff Gray from the Globe and Mail. Please go ahead.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Brewer. I wanted to ask also about education just quickly. Obviously, there's confusion and anxiety among parents, and we're just a few weeks away. Are there any moves you're contemplating now? You mentioned being flexible, being open. Is there anything you're specifically contemplating now to add to the plan to build some confidence among parents and teachers and students that this return to school is going to be safe?
Well, I'll go back to what I always say. We have the safest plan in the entire country, and we're pulling out all stops. I won't spare a penny. We're listening to the health experts, and we have some great health advice, and we're listening to everyone. We're listening to the teachers unions. We're listening to parents as well. We have put the safest plan, the most cautious plan than anywhere in the country. And I understand their anxiety. I really do. They're concerned about this. Everyone's concerned about it. But again, we're pulling out all stops and we're being flexible and we're listening. They wanted a later start. They wanted us to roll it out over 2 weeks. We're doing that. They wanted more sanitization. We're doing it. They wanted more money for teachers by getting into the reserves. We're doing that. We're listening and we're doing it. We're working collaboratively with all stakeholders in this as well. So we're really pulling out all the stops. And again, I want to emphasize, by far, bar none, we have the safest, most cautious plan in the entire country. And it should be that way.
Follow up?
And to follow up, Premier, we're hearing from parents, the class size issue is the issue. The Toronto District School Board says it can use this extra money that you've granted it permission to use from the reserves for classes in parts of the city where COVID has hit hardest, but there's lots of parents in other places, other regions. We're hearing from people in York region who are not happy that elementary school sizes are not considerably smaller. Why not just spend some more money then to assuage people and make those class sizes even smaller?
Well, we're doing exactly that. We've allowed people to dig into the reserves, and you're looking at Toronto alone. Toronto District School Board has over $100 million of reserves. And if they went in, and that's excluding the $30 million that we're putting in, if they go into the reserves, it would cost $60 million to add close to 1,100 teachers. I encourage them to do that. But again, we're working with the school boards and we're being flexible. Same with York Region. If they want to dig into the reserves, by all means, let's start utilizing the gyms, libraries around the area, community centers. We're really relying on the school boards to make that decision. But the money's there. And by all means, hire as many teachers within the parameter of the reserves that you have on top of the $30 million that we're putting in there.
Next question.
Next question comes from Miriam Adahaya from Radio Canada. Please go ahead.
Hi, Miriam.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Hello?
Go ahead, Miriam.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Miriam.
Oh, thank you. So, Premier, I was wondering, when it comes to COVID-19, will you or have you received the $7 billion from the federal government? And from that envelope, how much money will go towards the 10 paid sick days program related to COVID-19?
Well, we're working with the federal government. I know the finance minister is working with them to get this rolling out as soon as possible. And hopefully over the next couple of weeks, we'll see the money flowing, and we're going to work as quickly as possible. I can't give you the answer right now on the 10 paid sick days, but I'll get that answer for you.
Follow up?
Do you believe that this program, the 10 days paid sick days will be enough to limit the spread of COVID-19 going into flu season as well?
Well, it's being flexible again, giving people 10 days. I think it's important. It could be helpful, and a lot of people can't afford to take time off. That was the whole purpose of this. They're struggling, and even if they have a runny nose and might have symptoms, they don't go get tested because they need a paycheck, and they're relying on that paycheck to pay for rent and mortgage and put food on the table. So we just want people to have that flexibility if they are under the weather, not to come into work.
Okay, last question.
Last question comes from Brian Lilly from the Toronto Sun. Please go ahead.
Hi, Brian.
Premier, this is the second day in a row that you have asked for the federal government to step forward with 40% of funding for your transit plans. You announced the Ontario line and the major expansion more than a year ago, April 2019. Are you telling me that in that time you have not received any assurances from the federal government that they will back this plan? I mean, they were backing Montreal's plan and other plans well ahead of time.
Well, before I hand it over to Minister Mulroney, because she's had conversations with the Minister of Transportation, also the Minister of Infrastructure federally, we just haven't seen the check. I have all the confidence in the world that the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister will come to the table. It's absolutely critical. They want to put money into infrastructure. I know the focus over the last few months has been with COVID, but I have 100% confidence that the feds are going to come to the table, and we'll be working with the Deputy Prime Minister and as well as the Prime Minister. But I'll pass it over to Minister Mulroney.
Thank you, Premier. And Brian, I share the Premier's confidence that the federal government will come to the table and that they will fully fund their 40% share of our 4 priority transit projects. I have regular conversations with my counterpart, the Federal Minister of Transportation, Minister of Transport, but also the Federal Minister of Infrastructure. Minister McKenna and I speak on a regular basis about these projects. So we're continuing those conversations, and I know that she is keenly interested in seeing more public transit built in Ontario as well as across Canada. And so I am confident that the federal government will come to the table, and I remain hopeful that they will fund their share.
Follow-up.
All right, then an obvious question is, why have you spent the last 2 days asking the federal government to come forward and start funding this? If you're confident that they will fund it, then why spend part of your precious time before the media saying that you need them to come forward and fund it?
Well, again, I have confidence that the federal government will come to the table, and I want to make sure the message is loud and clear. We need their support. The municipalities need their support, and the province needed their support. But hey, the feds have been an incredible partner here, and the Deputy Prime Minister has been absolute champion. She's been working with us, been very flexible, supported us on our restart program with money for transit for municipalities. They've really stepped up to the plate. So we look forward to working with them and getting their 40% share. But again, I have confidence in the federal government coming to the table. They've been great partners.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you.